Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be installing new CV axles on this Kubota RTV I got. Needs two new ones because both the boots are torn. They're not making any noise yet, but I'm just gonna go ahead and put new ones in it so it so it's good to go for a while. I'm not gonna waste any time. Let's go ahead and jump into it. First things first, take these wheels and tires off. Should be 17mm bolts on each side. These are bolts, not studs. So let me go ahead and zip those off. Alright, so those are off. Next, I'm going to go ahead and remove this tie rod. It's a 17mm. If you want to see the tool that I used to bust that off, there is one in my recent video that I did where I installed the new steering rack and pinion in this thing. So you can go check that out, but it's just a little clamp that goes on here and pops that off. There's two ways we can do this. We can either loosen that bottom ball joint or we can remove the shock up here. I think I'm going to try to remove the shock just because the ball joint on the bottom there is just going to be a little hard to get to. And then I can also remove these arms if I need to. So kind of a couple options we can go with. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by doing this and doing the shock. All right, I got that removed. We'll see if this technique works. It might not work, but we're gonna try it out anyways. Go ahead and remove this axle nut. I'll tell you what size it is later. I'll go ahead and get that ready, and we'll see. I might end up just removing these control arm bolts, but we'll see what happens here. Alright, so an update here. I'm going to end up having to use my little puller here to remove that bottom ball joint. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'll go ahead and do that. And then I think this thing should be able to come out of here. Alright, so I finally got it out. Kind of had to fight that lower control arm a little bit. So next, this needs to go onto the new axle. So you just slide the snap ring off. And this should just slide right off the end of the axle here. Might need a few taps with the hammer. But I'll go ahead and do that off camera and we'll get it onto the new one. Alright, new axle is on. Well, it's on the, with the sleeve that's supposed to be installed. You might want to go ahead and grease. You don't have to grease this one because that's oil bath, but later I might put a little grease on this side so it doesn't get stuck in the future. I like this style axle over just a regular pop-in one that has a hog ring that holds it on. These axles hardly ever get stuck inside the differentials, which is great. Way better design than just having one that pulls out. I always have a bunch of trouble getting those ones out of the Polaris. So good design. Only thing I don't like is I don't like that the fluid drains out of this one. The Kawasaki mules do not do that, but oh well, not a big deal. Let me go ahead and set y'all up and we'll reinstall. Alright, I got that other side buttoned up. Everything is good to go. Both axles are in. A couple notes here. So on this side, I actually did not have to take the shock bolt out of the tower. I was able to pull it out just enough to get the axle off, so you might not have to do it on that side. I'll try to put a note at the beginning of the video if I can figure out how to work the editor. But it was a little easier to get those bolts out of the diff without the shock in the way. But otherwise, it was still a lot easier and faster doing it this way rather than the way I did it before. So just a good note for y'all. Other than that, it's a pretty simple job to do. If you have simple hand tools, you can easily do it yourself. But it should be good to go for a while on this one. My next project, which I'll try to get a video if I can. Sorry, it's probably about to be a little loud. Is that issue right there, the U-joint's broken. But sorry I didn't catch a whole lot of video on doing this axle. I just trying to beat the weather. It's starting to get a little cloudy, so I just don't want it to rain on me. But anyways, if you have any questions, drop them down below. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one. Alright, so I hand tightened everything for y'all, and then I went ahead and just tightened it all up with the wrenches and impacts. So this side's good to go. I went ahead and turned the wheel, make sure nothing's binding on the CV axle. Looks good. So I'm gonna go ahead and tackle this other side, and then I'll show you the finished product.